Well, it was another hot day across central Oregon, and as of this afternoon and evening, we've had scattered showers and some thunderstorms working their way through the high desert, including most of the Tri-County area. Not quite everybody getting wet, and we're starting to see a lot of this activity beginning to taper, but we still have several big changes and a couple fires that we've started to track. So let's take a deep dive into your most reliable forecast. We're going to talk about the changes we've already seen today, what happens next, and when we get back to sunshine and heating. Hey everyone, I am Darrell Winninger, the Chief Meteorologist at Central Oregon Daily News. Buckle up, let's get into it. So we're starting off with a simple graphic, our radar loop. And these are lightning strikes in the last 20 minutes, and so you'll see them actually moving with the showers. Right now, there is a little cluster of activity going on right over Sisters and the east slopes of the Cascades, so a single thunderstorm cell producing a little bit of lightning. It's a far cry from what we've seen through the day. Now, going forward through the next couple of days, we're back to sunshine, so let's just talk a little bit longer about what's been happening. Currently, there is a mixture of sunshine and clouds across the high desert, and in a couple of these cameras, we can actually see where that cloud cover is. We can see a couple of the showers off in the distance, but we're going to focus on a few specific cameras. This first camera is the Grizzly Mountain camera, and if you're not aware of where this is right on the Jefferson-Crook County line, and it's pointed to the north, and you can see a little bit of a smoke plume right about here. Now, through the last hour or so, we've been tracking the conditions that surrounding the environment that this is pointed at, because there is a little bit of a smoke plume and we do have a small fire there. So let's just look at a map. First off, the white arrow shows you where Grizzly Mountain is, just to the north and northwest, about 10 miles north of Prineville. Now, a little bit further past that, up into Jefferson County, East Jefferson County, there's a little cluster of lightning strikes, and that's where that camera is pointed. So we do have one fire there, and if you are a follower of Watch Duty, it's calling it the Brewer Fire. The actual interagency fire center for Central Oregon has not really reported this at all, so we're still waiting on official confirmation about what's going on there. But there's another one just to the north of that. Please ignore where it says Grizzly Mountain, but this is where Willowdale is, and in this area there's another fire that's showing up on Watch Duty, and Watch Duty claims it's 20 acres, but again, we haven't heard anything from fire officials, so we're continuing to track it on both fronts. Wildcat is showing both of these fires, but nothing officially. So when we go ahead and look at any news on evacuation zones, the red dots, that's where some fires are. So you can see the one right around Willowdale. You could see the one just to the north of Grizzly Mountain. And those two do not have any evacuation zones associated with them. In fact, most of Central Oregon is doing pretty good. If we were to just to see what they look like, there is that cluster of fires that's over right around Baker County and near Baker City. This is what the evacuation zones would look like. So we just don't have that for these fires. These are brand new fires, and they are in rural areas. So where those red dots are, that's where the two fires are that we're tracking. So they actually line up with where some of that lightning activity has been. So when it comes to rainfall and lightning, not quite everybody is getting wet. Some of it gotten wet, pardon me. Some of us have just had a few sprinkles, and so far in and around Central Oregon, there have been more than 800 lightning strikes, starting with this afternoon, going through the evening. So ultimately, a lot of thunderstorm activity pushing through the high desert, and across the whole state, it's more like almost 1,400 lightning strikes, but a good chunk of that is right through the Cascades and through Central Oregon. Now, because of this environment, because of this setup, the National Weather Service issued a red flag warning earlier this afternoon. They issued the warning at about noon. It went into effect at 1 p.m. and it continues until 11 p.m. due to the potential of lightning and thunderstorms that are capable of producing abundant lightning. Any fires that start are likely to spread rapidly. Also, around some of these thunderstorms, winds are going to get gusty. And as of right now, a lot of that continues to work its way through the high desert, but the bulk of the thunderstorm activity has already started to fizzle out. When we focus on the south central Oregon, where our future storms would be coming from, there's not too much that concerns me. Right around Christmas Valley, there is a single thunderstorm cell that's already starting to fizzle out, and the Green Mountain camera is right around Fort Rock, and it is zoomed in and focused on a different fire. Let me see if I could find that camera for you and show you what I'm talking about. Because I have all these cameras pulled into the Weather Center, but we don't always show all of them. So this is the Green Mountain camera, which is just to the east of Fort Rock, and it's pointed to the south. And right now that smoke plume isn't too impressive, but earlier it was. So as we go through the next couple of days, the rest of today, we still have this low risk of severe weather, just a marginal risk, not too bad. By tomorrow, we are not too much even in the risk of thunderstorm activity. Some of those lightning strikes where you see that lingering over parts of the Tri-County area, that's going to be right around midnight as this whole thing is fizzling out, and then everything continues to work its way up to the east. And then by Friday, we're in the clear. We're back under tons of sunshine. About my mic. Now, enhanced infrared satellite imagery does show where we have these thunderstorms rolling through the high desert. Now, infrared satellite imagery just focuses on the color or the temperature of the cloud top. And if it's colder, it's higher in the atmosphere. If it's not as cold, it's lower in the atmosphere. So this can tell us how tall clouds are. And so when we look at the enhancement that I've selected, it pulls out those taller clouds, and they will be red when they're super tall. Exhibit A, look over towards Salt Lake City, and we have that cluster of thunderstorms right around Twin Falls, Idaho. That's where we have the bright red colors in the clouds. Meanwhile, over Central Oregon, we had some oranges, some reds, but it's starting to fizzle out, which is indicative of this whole system starting to wrap up. So by the next couple of hours, we go from showers with a few thunderstorms to clearing starting. And then by Thursday, tons of sunshine starting with the beginning of the day, some PM clouds expected, no rain in sight, and we keep that sunshine through Friday and Saturday. And across Central Oregon, the heating trend begins. Meanwhile, when it comes to relative humidity value, all measured in percentages, it's not that bad. The last couple of days, it's been critically dry. We're talking teens and single digits. Today, it's 20s and 30s with some 40s on the map. All percentages, by the way. Now, in the last 24 hours, we topped out in the 90s with some 80s and 102 in Warm Springs. That 102 was an outlier yesterday. It's just still on the map because we haven't had anything as hot just yet. In fact, what we have is temperatures running between 10 and 21 degrees cooler than just 24 hours ago. And that's because once that rain started across the high desert, we got that rain-cooled action, temperatures fell, and it actually feels a little more comfortable with a little extra humidity out there as well. Meanwhile, temperatures at the moment are mostly in the 80s and 70s with 91 in Paulina. And tonight we're cool, should say, cool back into the 50s. And by tomorrow, highs mostly in the mid to some upper 80s. Now, our UV intensity forecast is cranking up through the next several days because this cloud cover we've had today that knocked it back down to around 7, so high, not very high, that cloud cover gets out of here, we're back under the direct sunshine of mid-July. Not only are we going to be heating up by the time we get to this weekend, but the UV intensity is going to be very high. Meanwhile, our future precipitation doesn't show much other than the showers that we currently have over the high desert. We are drying out, and with that drying comes the next heating trend, and temperatures will be cranking up by Saturday and Sunday. So your forecast model does show that here through the next couple of hours, the showers, the thunderstorms wrap up. We get our clearing and we stay under sunshine through the rest of this week, through this weekend, and well into next week, we begin to get a next shift in our weather pattern. So all the way through Saturday and Sunday, we only have some PM clouds on Sunday, and there's no rain in sight after tonight. So when we look at the GFS, the long-range forecast model pretty much confirms everything the other one has. This one isn't as high of resolution because it goes out a lot further, and it still shows that we have this next ridge of high pressure setting up over the region. By Monday, we catch some extra clouds. By Tuesday, in and out cover. A few blips of green showing up, but nothing to be concerned about. And by Wednesday afternoon, maybe a couple showers as well. And so that's when we get back into an unsettled weather pattern. It just doesn't look too impressive. Maybe a few showers by Monday and Wednesday. So between now and Saturday at 11 p.m., some showers still left out there, and that's pretty much what's on radar right now, just fizzling out through the rest of this evening. Then by this time next week, more rain will have fallen. Most of that has actually already fallen. We're just waiting on the forecast models to catch up. Now, wind gusts at the moment, a lot of them are between 20 and 30 miles per hour, just not quite all of them. And actual wind speeds are more like 5 to 15 miles per hour, with a few spots getting up to 20. The next couple of hours, it gets breezy, even a little gusty. Then we get back down to a light breeze, a gentle breeze overnight. And then we keep that light breeze through Thursday, breezy at times Thursday and Friday pretty much. So for tonight, expect 50s with a few 40s and 60s out there. Thursday, 80s and some 90s. A lot more sunshine and a lot more heating is on the way. We do get this dip in temperatures Thursday and Friday back down to near average for this time of the year. Little below average by tomorrow, but it won't stay for very long. We heat right back up. And then by next week, that's when we get our next chance of an unsettled weather pattern. So thunderstorms are wrapping up tonight, and seasonal warmth is expected through the rest of this work week. Then sunshine and heating really take shape across the high desert, especially as we go forward through this weekend. So when it comes to radar, we do have some showers left on the map. A few cells are producing a little bit more lightning, but the bulk of the lightning activity has already wrapped up. We're just keeping that chance of some thunderstorms left in the forecast because we're just not quite done with everything. So a recap of what we have been looking at: the Grizzly Mountain camera was focused on a fire, still have a little bit of a smoke plume. Watch Duty is calling this the Brewer Fire. I believe it's also named that in Wildcat, and at last check, Wildcat had it at maybe 2 acres. And that is just to the north of Grizzly Mountain. Grizzly Mountain is right here. And this is where that cluster of lightning strikes could have sparked the fire. There's another area further to the north of that around Willowdale where there is another fire being reported on Wildcat, but we haven't had any confirmation of anything just yet. So far, there have been more than 800 lightning strikes in and around Central Oregon. That's the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News. We'll have the latest headlines and your most reliable forecast. See you then.